The United States national debt also is nearing $12 trillion, and it's growing by the billions every single day. So this is an update on our federal government. It's interesting to note that from Washington to Reagan, from 1791 to 1982, our government accumulated, with everything that it had done from 1791 to 1982, $1 trillion of debt. Very first time. Since that time, we have increased to now basically $12 trillion in debt. You can see this chart that shows since we've taken our dollar off the gold standard, and since we've been able to operate with deficit spending at the place that we have, it has skyrocketed our national debt to where it's now growing at nearly $1 trillion per year, where it took us almost 2 centuries to accumulate $1 trillion up until 1982. Current national debt stands at $11.8 trillion. I want you to think about it this way. Imagine that you received a letter from the government, and here's what it says. We, the United States government, have selected your name at random and will begin paying you at the rate of $1 per second, beginning tonight at midnight. And let's say that you were to begin receiving this, and I don't know about you, but I'd be happy, thrilled to death that the government wanted to give me that kind of money. I mean, I know it would take away from you, but you know what? $1 a second, I'll take it. Now, I get $1 a second. Let's say I live 20 years. 20 years of getting $1 a second for doing nothing, a lot like politicians, for doing nothing. 20 years later, I would have accumulated $600 million. Who thinks that's a pretty good paycheck? $600 million for doing nothing. 20 years, $1 per second. The government spends $600 million every 13 hours on the interest on the national debt. Not the payment on the national debt. The interest on the national debt costs $600 million every 13 hours. Let's look at it this way. In 2009, these numbers were just released for fiscal year 2009, the Department of Labor cost $54 billion to operate. NASA cost $18 billion to operate. Department of Energy cost $23 billion to operate. Homeland Security, that's an important one, $44 billion to operate. The Department of Transportation, $71 billion. The Department of Education, $63.5 billion. The Department of Agriculture, $94, almost $95 billion. Just all those together equals $369.3 billion to operate in fiscal year 2009. It's a lot of money. But the interest paid on the U.S. national debt in that same time period was $450 billion. So all of those departments combined didn't even equal the interest that we pay every year on the national debt. And then we take into consideration the 2040 entitlement crisis, which stands at $59.1 trillion by every conservative estimate. $59.1 trillion, and that is simply to take care of all the promises that we've made through Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Important promises that we've made to people to make good on those promises. That's what it's going to cost us. That's not what it's going to cost us. It's what it's going to cost our kids. It's what it's going to cost our grandkids. It's very similar to walking into a restaurant and ordering the finest steak, the finest bottle of wine, cheesecake. And the maitre d' comes and rings the bill, and you say, no, put that on my unborn grandson's bill.